Michael Beasley. He came in with sky-high expectations in a game that looked ready-made for stardom. Coming out of Kansas State, he was a total stat machine, dominating with over 26 points and 12 rebounds every game. That college season had people talking about him, like he was the next big thing. Then he got picked second overall, so the hype was real. But once he hit the league, it just never clicked the way people thought it would. Sure, there were flashes. He had a season where he scored over 19 points a night, but it never turned into anything lasting. His stats looked decent on paper, but advanced numbers painted a different picture. His real plus-minus was negative nearly every year, which means the team did worse when he was on the floor. Not great. His defense was basically a rumor. Teams rotated him around like a spare part, hoping to unlock his potential, but the consistency never came. Off the court, things weren't helping either. He ran into trouble with marijuana and never really embraced that full-time pro mentality. By the time he was done in the NBA, he played for 7 teams and couldn't lock down a spot. He still played overseas, but that dream of becoming a legend, it drifted away fast. Andray Bynum, he showed up straight from high school and became the youngest player ever to step on an NBA court. Just 18 years and 6 days old, he had size, footwork, and that old school big man feel. And for a minute, it looked like he'd be a force for years. By his peak, in the 2011 to 2012 season, he was putting up nearly 19 points, almost 12 boards, and was hitting over 55% from the field. He even made the All-Star team and cracked the All-NBA second team that year. He wasn't just a stats guy either. Bynum was part of those back-to-back championship teams with the Lakers in 2009 and 2010. Even while battling injuries, he held it down in the paint and brought solid defense and rebounding when it mattered. But man, those knees didn't hold up. It started with a dislocated kneecap in 2008, then a torn ligament in 2009, and somehow it got worse. He missed an entire season with the Sixers after a bowling mishap wrecked his knee again. After that, he bounced around, but never looked the same. His last game came at just 26. Bynum had the tools, but his body didn't cooperate. Ty Lawson. He came out of North Carolina as a champion and looked ready to run an NBA offense with speed, craft, and control. Early on, he did just that. His years in Denver were impressive. He was efficient, quick, and dropped dimes like it was nothing. At his best, he averaged almost 20 points and nearly 10 assists per game. He had one of the highest true shooting percentages among guards and even posted an elite real plus-minus in 2011 to 2012. But then it got messy. Off the court, things started unraveling. Multiple arrests for driving under the influence in 2015 raised serious red flags. It got worse when he violated probation with failed alcohol tests. Teams got nervous, and so did the league. On the court, the spark faded. After being traded to Houston, he averaged under 6 points. From that point, he bounced from team to team, never finding his place. And just when you thought the story might quietly fade, Lawson got banned for life from the Chinese league in 2020 after posting inappropriate comments. He went from promising floor general to league outsider fast. The talent was there, no question, but bad choices and a steep decline turned his career into a cautionary tale. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Royce White. He had that rare blend of size, skill, and court vision that had scouts fired up. At Iowa State, he ran the offense like a point guard trapped in a power forward's body. He led his team in every major stat and made it look easy. 13 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. He did everything. That got him picked 16th in the 2012 draft, but the story didn't go how people hoped. He never played a single regular season minute for the team that drafted him. Instead, he clashed with the Rockets over how they handled his anxiety disorder, especially his fear of flying. He wanted mental health protections written into his contract, and the team didn't exactly roll out the support. After that, things spiraled. He ended up playing just 3 games in the NBA with the Kings and recorded 0 stats across all of them. He did show flashes in the G League and later in Canada, where he won 2 titles and grabbed an MVP. His game clearly worked when the setting was right, but the league never figured out how to support him. Royce White didn't flame out because he couldn't play. He just needed help that never came. And that's what really cost him his NBA future. O.J. Mayo. He came into the league as a scoring machine, fresh off a big season at USC, where he put up over 20 points a game. 3rd overall pick in 2008, smooth jumper, NBA-ready frame. He looked like he had all the tools to be a star. And in his first few years with Memphis, he was solid. Almost 14 points per game across his career. And he could create shots on command. But the advanced stats never quite backed him up. His real plus-minus stayed in the negatives year after year, which didn't help his case. Things started slipping around the time he got hit with the suspension in 2011 for testing positive for a banned substance. He blamed an energy drink, but the damage was done. He still had flashes with Dallas and Milwaukee, even posting a career high in true shooting in 2012. But the consistency was gone. His role shrank fast, and his scoring followed. Then came the big blow. He was banned from the league in 2016 for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. 2-year suspension, but he never came back. He had the scoring chops, no doubt, but the off-court choices and decline on the floor sent his career crashing fast. Jason Williams. The guy had handles like a magician and vision that could slice through defenders like a laser beam. From the second he entered the league in 1998, he was must-watch stuff. Behind the back passes, no-look feeds, full-court lobs. He played like the court was a mixtape, but that same flair came with chaos. He averaged nearly 3 turnovers a game and barely cracked 40% from the field across his career. Coaches loved the highlights, but they didn't trust him in crunch time. He had real talent though. Over 12 seasons, he dropped more than 4,600 assists and put up over 8,000 points. He even grabbed a ring with the Heat in 2006, playing more under control and showing he could run a disciplined offense when it mattered. But those earlier years, loaded with off-court drama. He got suspended for violating the league's drug policy and even got into it with fans, including one ugly incident involving racist remarks that stuck to his reputation like glue. As he got older, he toned things down, but injuries piled up. By the time he retired in 2011, he'd left a legacy of flash and frustration. Williams had the game, but not always the discipline to match it. Jahlil Okafor. He came into the league as a throwback big man with polish in the post and a national title under his belt. At Duke, he was dominant, 17 points and 8 rebounds a night, and he looked like a surefire anchor for a franchise. Philadelphia took him third in 2015, but the game was changing fast, and Okafor's style didn't fit the new mold. He posted solid rookie numbers, but the defensive gaps were impossible to hide. His lack of mobility hurt him in pick and roll coverage, and the NBA started to phase out back to the basket scorers who couldn't stretch the floor. His advanced metrics told the story clearly. Real plus minus was negative every single year. Even when his true shooting peaked over 64%, he couldn't stay on the floor long enough to matter. Off the court, things got messy fast. A street fight in Boston, caught on camera, caught speeding over 100 miles per hour across a bridge in Philly. The Sixers assigned a bodyguard just to keep him out of trouble. That's not a great look for a top pick. He bounced between teams, had decent runs in New Orleans and Detroit, but never found his place. Okafor had the footwork and touch, but not the timing or the temperament for today's NBA. Tyreke Evans. He burst into the league and immediately joined an elite group with his rookie numbers: 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. That earned him Rookie of the Year in 2010, and everyone figured he'd be a star for the next decade, but his career never quite hit that next gear. Injuries, especially to his knees, slowed him down. He had surgery in 2015, and things never got consistent after that. He also never had a set role. One year, he was running the point. The next, he was slotted at small forward. That positional shuffle didn't help him grow, and it showed in his play. His shooting was always streaky, especially from deep. He averaged just over 32% from 3 for his career, and his true shooting percentage bounced around from average to rough. Then came the big hit. He got banned in 2019 for violating the league's anti-drug program. He was out for 2 years. After being reinstated, he tried to claw back into the league, but it didn't stick. A short G League stint ended fast, and he spent time overseas in Puerto Rico and Venezuela. Evans had all the tools early on, but between the injuries and the off-court problems, that star potential faded fast. Derrick Coleman. He was the first overall pick in 1990 and looked like the future of the power forward position. Big, skilled, and left-handed. He had a jumper, post moves, and could pass. Early on, he backed up the hype. He averaged over 16 points and 9 rebounds across his career, and in the early years with the Nets, he was putting up over 22 points and 12 rebounds per 40 minutes. At his best, his true shooting topped 57%. The talent was never the issue, but then the other stuff started creeping in. The injuries hit hard. Back, knees, everything. His availability dropped, and so did his impact. He bounced from New Jersey to Philly, then Charlotte and Detroit, and each stop felt more like a what could have been. On top of that, he kept running into off-court problems. Legal trouble during college, locker room clashes, and just plain stubbornness followed him everywhere. He even got suspended during the Malice at the Palace, and once left his team with 4 guys on the court because he walked off mid-game. You can't make that up. Coleman had the physical tools and a head start most players dream of. But between the injuries and his attitude, that legendary status slipped right through his fingers. Ben Simmons. He came in with sky-high expectations and for a while looked like he'd meet them. Rookie of the Year, 3 All-Star selections, and a two-way game that gave teams nightmares. He was dishing out nearly 8 assists a night while locking down opposing stars on defense. At 6'10" with point guard instincts, he looked like the future. His advanced numbers backed it up too. Strong efficiency, great assist rates, and serious defensive impact. But it all started to slip. A back injury sidelined him for an entire season. Then came the mental side. He passed up open dunks in the playoffs, looked unsure on the court, and his confidence took a nosedive. Things got messy with the Sixers. He got suspended for refusing to engage in practice, fined millions, and ended up traded to the Nets. It didn't get better there. Since then, the production's been modest. He played just 15 games in the 2023 season. After a buyout, he landed with the Clippers, but he's just a role guy now. Still some passing, still some defense, but the star potential, it's a ghost. Simmons had all the tools to dominate, but between the injuries, the drama, and the mental battles, it just never came together. Marbury. He came into the league as a high-scoring, playmaking point guard with elite athleticism and confidence to spare. 4th overall pick in 1996, he had all the tools to be a franchise leader, and for a while, he delivered. Nearly 20 points and over 7 assists per game for his career. In Phoenix and New Jersey, he posted elite numbers and even made 2 All-Star appearances. His true shooting peaked above 57%, and in New York, he had a season where his real plus-minus hit nearly 3, but team success never followed. Wherever Marbury went, drama wasn't far behind. He clashed with coaches, Larry Brown, Mike D'Antoni, and those feuds turned public. At one point, he refused to play and was suspended by the Knicks. His teams consistently underperformed, and the playoff success just never came. Off the court, things got darker. He opened up about depression and even went viral for bizarre live streams during a low point in 2009. But the next chapter came in China. He dominated the Chinese league, won 3 titles, and became a cultural icon. He got statues, movies, and redemption. Marbury never became an NBA legend, but he built something remarkable out of the wreckage, just not where anyone expected. Lamar Odom. At 6'10", with the skill set of a guard, he was the ultimate matchup problem. He could handle the ball, shoot, rebound, and create for others. Across 14 seasons, he averaged over 13 points, 8 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists per game. He was never flashy with stats, but his impact was everywhere, especially during those Lakers title runs in 2009 and 2010. He even snagged the 6th Man of the Year award in 2011, showing how vital he was off the bench. His advanced numbers backed it up too. His assist percentage peaked at over 25, and his usage stayed balanced without ever turning reckless. But after the Lakers, it got rough. He struggled in Dallas, and by the time he came back to the Clippers, his spark was fading. He even played a few games in Spain before calling it quits. Off the court, the story took a darker turn. Multiple drug suspensions, a public overdose in 2015, and the weight of personal losses followed him throughout his career. He nearly died in that Vegas brothel incident, but somehow pulled through. Odom's game was rare, smart, and smooth, but the battles away from basketball kept him from truly reaching what he could have been. Eddy Curry. He came into the league with size, touch, and one of the softest scoring games around the rim. Drafted 4th overall in 2001, he looked like a future anchor at center. Early on, the scoring numbers were solid, nearly 13 points per game for his career, and his true shooting peaked at an absurd 75%. The guy could score efficiently, no question, but the rest of his game, not so much. He never rebounded like a big man should, and wasn't exactly a rim protector. His real plus-minus stayed in the negatives year after year, which said a lot. Then came the health scare in 2005. After an irregular heartbeat, the Bulls asked for a DNA test to check for a heart condition. Curry refused and got shipped to the Knicks. Off the court, the issues piled up. He got sued by a former chauffeur, dealt with horrific personal tragedy in 2009, and ran into financial chaos despite making millions. The debt ballooned. His mansion got foreclosed, and he made headlines for all the wrong reasons. He had the tools to be a force inside, but between health concerns, personal struggles, and wild off-court decisions, Curry's career ended up being more cautionary tale than legacy builder. Roy Tarpley. At 6'11", with a solid frame and soft hands, he had all the tools to dominate the paint. In just 6 NBA seasons, he averaged a double-double with over 12 points and 10 rebounds per game. That kind of production earned him 6th Man of the Year in 1988 and a key spot on a rising Maverick squad. His rebounding percentage hovered around 19%, and his win shares per 48 minutes put him among some of the most efficient bigs of his era. But that potential never had time to blossom. In 1989, Tarpley got arrested for driving while intoxicated. That was the beginning of the end. Multiple suspensions followed, and by 1991, he was banned from the league. He made a brief comeback in the mid-90s, but violated his aftercare program and got permanently barred after testing positive for alcohol. He didn't disappear though. Tarpley went overseas and kept hooping. He won a FIBA European Cup in Greece and played in Russia, China, and Cyprus. Still, the NBA chapter was over. He died in 2015 at 50 years old. Roy Tarpley had the body, the stats, the game, but addiction kept him from ever becoming what he could have been. Steve Francis. He was explosive, flashy, and full of potential the second he hit the league. Drafted second overall in 1999, he turned heads from the start with highlight reel drives and athleticism that popped off the screen. He averaged over 18 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds across his career. And at his peak, his advanced stats were right there with the league's top guards. In 2003, his real plus-minus hit 3.49, showing real impact on both ends. He was a 3-time All-Star and shared Rookie of the Year honors, but the climb stopped sooner than expected. Injuries started piling up, chronic knee pain, tendinitis, even a quad tendon issue, and his production dipped fast. By the time he got to his second stint with Houston, his minutes were disappearing and his shot was ice cold. That 41% true shooting in 2007, brutal. Then things went sideways off the court. In 2016, he got arrested twice, one DUI and another for burglary. He later opened up about struggling with alcohol after retiring. The spark that once made him the franchise had completely faded. Francis had the game and the swagger to be great, but the body gave out. The decisions caught up, and the story ended way short of legendary. Jared Sullinger. He came into the league with serious potential and a bruising inside game that made him a standout at Ohio State. He was crafty around the rim, grabbed rebounds in bunches, and played with a motor that caught attention early. Over 5 NBA seasons, he averaged almost 11 points and 7.5 rebounds per game. Not bad for a guy drafted 21st. His advanced stats backed him up too. He posted a solid, real plus-minus of 1.88 in 2014 and rebounded at an elite rate, but it didn't last. Sullinger's body broke down early. He had back surgery during his rookie season, then kept running into foot injuries that took away his mobility. By the time he landed in Toronto, his minutes were shrinking fast. He just couldn't stay healthy enough to stick. And then there was the weight. At one point, he ballooned up to 320 pounds, and it showed. His conditioning became a real concern, and teams started adding weight clauses into his contracts. After the NBA, he took his game overseas and thrived. He dominated in China and Korea, even grabbing Finals MVP honors and a CBA MVP award. Sullinger didn't live up to his NBA hype, but he turned his second act into a story of redemption through resilience. Josh Selby. At one point, he was the top high school prospect in the country, a scoring machine with bounce and swagger that made scouts drool. But the hype train derailed fast. He landed at Kansas and played just 26 games, averaging under 8 points. A 9-game suspension for taking improper benefits put him on the bench early, and then a stress injury in his foot knocked out his rhythm. By the time he declared for the draft, the momentum was already gone. He got picked 49th in the 2011 draft by Memphis and played 38 games over 2 forgettable seasons. 2 points a game, under 15% from deep, and just couldn't find minutes. The one blip, he lit up Summer League in 2012 and split MVP honors with Damian Lillard. That was supposed to be the turning point. It wasn't. Off the court, things didn't help. He got hit with a marijuana charge during the NBA lockout, and teams were already worried about his focus. After Memphis cut ties, it was a world tour. China, Israel, Lithuania, New Zealand, and more. Selby had the raw skill, but the timing, the injuries, and the decisions kept him from even sniffing NBA success. Another story of what if left unanswered. Michael Ray Richardson. The guy had all the tools. Tall, athletic, crazy instincts, and he was a menace on defense. He could score, pass, rebound, steal, you name it. He came into the league in the late 70s and was instantly a difference maker. And it wasn't just hype. By his second season, he was already leading the league in assists and steals. He made 4 All-Star games and was twice named to the All-Defense First Team. And in 1985, he won Comeback Player of the Year after battling back from an earlier suspension. Sounds like the path of a legend, right? Well, not exactly. Richardson couldn't stay away from drugs. After failing 3 tests, the league gave him a lifetime ban in 1986. He never came back. That was it. Done after just 8 seasons. His averages were solid. Almost 15 points, 5.5 boards, 7 assists, and more than 2 steals per game. His advanced numbers weren't bad either, with strong marks in efficiency and impact. But it didn't matter. He let the off-court stuff define him. He kept playing overseas, won some titles, got into coaching, even taught kindergarten. His life turned around. But in the NBA, Richardson's story always ends the same way. So much talent, wasted potential. Rafer Alston. The name still sparks memories of flashy crossovers and fearless drives. But when it came to carving out a legendary NBA legacy, things didn't quite go the distance. He was drafted 39th overall in 1998, and while expectations weren't sky high, fans who knew Skip to Mayo thought he'd light the league on fire. He had some strong years, especially in Houston and Orlando, with averages of 10 points and nearly 5 assists across more than 600 games. His numbers weren't jaw-dropping, but he was more than serviceable. His advanced metrics were all over the place. Some seasons he showed real value, like in 2007, when he posted a solid plus-minus. Other years, not so much. True shooting peaked at just over 52%, but the inconsistency made coaches pull their hair out. The street ball flair didn't always mesh with the structured systems of the league. And let's not ignore the instability. 6 teams in 11 years, plus legal troubles that definitely didn't help his image. Arrests, suspensions, and off-court drama followed him around. He made it to the finals in 2009 with Orlando, but even that couldn't erase the what could have been feeling. Legendary moves, average results. Barry Carroll, first overall pick, 7-foot center, smooth touch around the basket. And still, the legacy never quite clicked. His stats tell one story: nearly 18 points and almost 8 boards a game across more than 700 appearances. Not bad. Actually, pretty impressive. He even made an all-star team in 1987. But the nickname, Joe Barely Cares, hung over him like a fog. His calm, sometimes passive demeanor rubbed fans and media the wrong way. And it only got louder after the Warriors gave up Robert Parrish and the pick that became Kevin McHale just to draft him. He had a monster season in 1983, dropping over 24 points and almost 9 rebounds a night. He even scored 52 in one game. Then boom, he went overseas. Contract dispute. Took his talents to Italy. He dominated. Won 2 major titles. But skipping out during his prime years raised even more eyebrows. He came back, but things weren't the same. His numbers faded, and by his last season in Phoenix, he barely played. His post-NBA life, way more successful. Finance, philanthropy, books, art. He really turned the page. Still, when it comes to his playing career, most people remember the potential more than the results. Darius Miles, taken 3rd overall straight out of high school. And for a minute, it looked like he might really take off. He had bounce, length, and crazy upside. In his early Clippers years, he put up solid numbers and made the all-rookie first team in 2001. By the time he got to Portland, he was averaging almost 19 points a game. He even posted over 55% true shooting in 2004, but the climb stopped short. Injuries absolutely wrecked his momentum. That brutal knee injury and the microfracture surgery took him out for 2 full seasons. He came back in 2009 with Memphis, but it wasn't the same. The athleticism that made him special just never fully returned. Off the court, things didn't help either. He got suspended in Portland after a fight with Morris Cheeks, and again in 2008 for violating the league's substance policy. Then came the financial collapse. After earning around $62 million, he filed for bankruptcy in 2016. Bad investments and shady business partners drained him. He had to auction off memorabilia just to cover debts. Darius Miles had the tools, the hype, and the platform. But between injuries, bad choices, and instability, that potential turned into another NBA what-if. Andray Blatche. He had the size, the handles, and a scoring touch that made people think he'd be the next versatile big thing. At 6'11", he could shoot, post up, and even dish it out when needed. He hit double digits in points over a 9-year career with Washington and Brooklyn, averaging just over 10 points and 5 rebounds. In 2011, he put up nearly 17 points and over 8 boards a game, logging big minutes and becoming the Wizards' go-to guy. But the hype fizzled fast. Blatche's numbers peaked, but his conditioning dropped off a cliff. In 2012, Washington benched him because he was out of shape, reportedly pushing past 280 pounds. Then came the attitude issues. He refused to check into a game after getting pulled for weak defense. The Wizards finally gave up and used the amnesty clause to cut him loose. Rather than risk his amnesty money, he bolted overseas, where he absolutely dominated China's league, 31 points and nearly 15 rebounds per game. Wild. He also became a naturalized Filipino citizen and led their national team in scoring at international tournaments. Talent wasn't the problem. Discipline and decision-making were. Blatche had all the tools, but he just never found the focus to put them together in the NBA. Shawn Kemp. Back in the 90s, he was one of the most explosive bigs in the game. The guy could jump out of the gym, and his highlight, dunks with Seattle, still live rent-free in basketball history. He averaged nearly 15 points and over 8 boards across more than 1,000 games, with 6 straight All-Star selections and 3 All-NBA second-team honors to show for it. In 1996, he helped lead the Sonics all the way to the finals. At his peak, he was efficient and dominant. During the 1996 season, he posted a true shooting percentage of 56.1 and put up huge per-minute numbers. His usage rate stayed steady around 24%, showing how central he was to the offense. But then came Cleveland, and the weight. By 1999, he was reportedly up to 315 pounds, and the athletic edge that made him so dangerous was gone. Then came the arrests. Drugs, guns, and most recently, a shooting in 2023 that led to an assault conviction. He also blew through roughly $90 million with failed business ventures and a dwindling net worth. Kemp had Hall of Fame potential, no doubt, but he couldn't outrun the off-court chaos. Ricky Davis, one of the most athletic wings of his era, and somehow also one of the most frustrating. He played 12 seasons, scored over 13 points per game, and could fill up the box score when he was locked in. His best year was with Cleveland in 2003, where he averaged over 20 points, 5 assists, and almost 5 rebounds a night. But people don't remember the stats. They remember the circus. The wrong rim fiasco sealed his reputation. He literally shot at his own basket to snag a rebound and force a triple-double. The league voided it, the team fined him, and the nickname stuck. After that, nothing about Davis was ever just about basketball. He bounced around the league, playing for 6 teams, and drama followed him everywhere. When LeBron James showed up in Cleveland, Davis reportedly thought LeBron was there to play off him. That's the kind of delusion that gets you traded to Boston. The skills were never the issue. His shooting, playmaking, and athleticism were legit, but the attitude, coaches just didn't trust him. After his NBA run ended, he played overseas and in the D-League, trying to claw his way back, but that door closed. Talent's one thing, buy-in's another. Ricky never figured out both. Latrell Sprewell, 4 All-Star nods, a first-team All-NBA spot, and nearly 19 points per game across more than 900 matchups. The guy had a motor, a mean mid-range, and could defend with intensity. He was one of the fiercest wings of the 90s, and when he was on, he could carry a team. He nearly helped the Knicks win it all in 1999, and he posted almost 20 points per game in the playoffs. But the highlight reel wasn't enough to cover up the headline. The choking incident in 1997? Yeah, that's what most people remember. During a practice, he attacked his coach, PJ Carlesimo, and got hit with a 68-game suspension. It torched his reputation and derailed his momentum. He bounced back and found success again, especially with Minnesota, but the damage never really faded. Then came the contract disaster. He turned down $21 million, claiming it wasn't enough to feed his family. That quote followed him like a shadow. He never played another game. After the 2005 season, off the court, things got even messier. Yacht repossessed, mansion foreclosed, millions gone. Sprewell could hoop, no doubt, but the personal decisions, they wrote the final chapter of his career. Oliver Miller, a big man with soft hands and even softer vision, he was a rare center who could rack up assists and block shots with ease. He had a short but intriguing 9-year run in the NBA, playing for 6 teams and averaging over 7 points, nearly 6 rebounds, and more than 2 assists per game. In the mid-90s with Toronto, he had his best year, almost 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and nearly 2 blocks per game. His shooting, over 52% from the floor. That kind of efficiency with that kind of size was a problem for defenses, but the weight became the headline. His conditioning fluctuated to the extreme, sometimes pushing past 380 pounds. That kind of load took a toll on his mobility and his ability to stay on the court. Coaches had to constantly manage his minutes and expectations. Off the court, things got worse. In 2011, he pleaded guilty to first-degree assault and possession of a handgun, landing a jail sentence and probation. After his NBA days, he bounced around overseas and in the minor leagues. Sadly, he passed away in 2025 from cancer at age 54. A player with incredible touch, but too many battles away from the court. Rest in peace, Oliver Miller. Kwame Brown, the first high school player ever taken with the top pick, and the expectations crushed him before he even got comfortable in a jersey. Drafted by Washington in 2001, his 12-year career wasn't short on longevity, but it was short on production for a #1 pick. Across over 600 games, he averaged just under 7 points and about 5.5 rebounds. For a top selection, that's not going to cut it. He had moments, like in 2004 when he put up nearly 11 points and 7 rebounds per game, but the consistency never showed up. His true shooting peaked just over 57% with the Lakers, which is decent, but he never took on a major offensive role. His usage rate stayed around 15% most seasons. That tells you coaches didn't trust him to be more than a role player. Injuries didn't help. Neither did the whispers about his work ethic and maturity. There were clashes with coaches, frustration from teammates, and a spotlight he never seemed ready for. He wasn't a complete bust. He played over a decade, but for a number 1 pick, that's not the benchmark. Kwame became the blueprint of what happens when expectations and reality go in opposite directions. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.